Breaking news out of Venezuela, where the Maduro-controlled election authority declared him the winner of yesterday's presidential election. But the opposition is contesting that after most exit polls showed an overwhelming defeat of Maduro. And yesterday's election showed a massive turnout, riddled with irregularities. According to the Washington Post, quote, there were reports of blocked access, delays, and violence at some voting centers. At one voting center in the Chacao neighborhood of Caracas on Sunday, voters waited in line for more than 6 hours to cast their ballots, breaking into chants of "We want to vote." The election came after Maduro's regime barred the most popular opposition leader, Maria Corina Machado, from running back in January, but she brought in former diplomat Edmundo González Urrutia to run in her place, and much of the country has been mobilized behind him. Machado and González are insisting they defeated Maduro.
En que Edmundo González Urrutia obtuvo el 70% de los votos de esta elección y Nicolás Maduro el 30% de los votos. Esta es la verdad.
That was Maria Corina Machado saying González received 70% of the vote and that Maduro received 30%. She says that is the truth. Secretary of State Antony Blinken said the U.S. has serious concerns. The results don't reflect the will of the people. And leaders in Latin America and elsewhere more forcefully speaking out. The president of Chile saying they will not recognize any results that are not verifiable. The president of Argentina posting "Dictator Maduro out" and called on Venezuelan armed forces to defend democracy. Peru's foreign minister says they will not accept the violation of the will of the Venezuelan people. And Colombia's foreign minister called for an audit. Joining us now from Caracas, Ana Vanessa Herrero, reporter for the Washington Post. She covered the elections on the ground in Venezuela. Ana, thank you very much for being with us today. What is the reaction on the ground in Venezuela today?
Well, you can feel many things now on the streets. You can feel a sense of incredulity. You can feel a sense of sadness. And also you can feel a sense of a very tense, calm, a peaceful, yet they're waiting. People are waiting to see what the next step is for the opposition, for Maria Corina Machado and for Edmundo González, and also what's going to be the government's response. It's just now we have no idea what the armed forces are going to say about the entire process. This is, as you well said, this is not only a questionable election for many countries, but we also are waiting to hear from the international observers, especially from the Carter Center, who was here looking after the elections and watching every step of the way for almost 2 weeks now.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, it's important to say that those international observers that were there on the ground, there were many others that were actually barred from coming into Venezuela, hoping to be an observer of this electoral process, including former presidents of Panama, of Costa Rica, of Mexico. You were there yesterday. What did you see, Ana?
Well, I've been covering this country for the past 15 years. I've covered several elections, including Chavez's election, his last election, and the first election of Nicolás Maduro. And I've never seen something like what we experienced yesterday. What I saw was people on the streets just flooding the electoral centers, asking to count the votes. Yes, at first, there were a lot of problems for voters. They weren't allowed in. They were delayed. But then those things sorted out in some places. Some other places got very tense very quickly. In other parts of the country, different from the capital. But then after that, after 6 p.m., when the polls closed, we saw a lot of people on the streets there, staying there up until 2 a.m. in the morning with severe threats. For example, in Caracas, in one of the biggest electoral centers called Liceo Andrés Bello in La Candelaria, I witnessed 150 motorcycles with almost 2 and 3 people on top of each motorcycle who came to this electoral center to threaten the people there. Some people got beaten, some people got injured, but still a group stayed there up until 2 a.m. in the morning asking the Electoral Council to be present when they were counting the votes, something that didn't happen at least up until 2 a.m. when the last person left.
Yeah, and those motorcycles with 2 and 3 people on them, each of them armed, are Maduro supporters. I'm just not, Ana, what's next? I mean, the armed forces has been on by Maduro's side for a number of reasons for, decades now, include Chavez. What's next now?
Well, the opposition says they have the vote, and this is crucial. This, for the first time, they're not claiming just a fraud, or as Maria Corina Machado said yesterday, any fraud. This is something different. They claim that they have the proof to show not only the world, but Venezuela, that they won with the percentage that they announced. So now what we're waiting for is first to hear from the Electoral Council if they're going to be open to count each and every vote, as the opposition is saying, and as every other country is asking, to recognize the government. This is, for now, what we expect in the next couple of days. If this doesn't happen, then the opposition definitely is going to announce another strategy to, as Maria Corina Machado has said during Edmundo's campaign, being her the main face of the campaign, they're going to keep up until the end. They're going to keep going until the very end.
Ana Manzanero, first of all, please take care of yourself. I very much appreciate you being on with us today, and our admiration for the Venezuelan people who came out to vote by millions with a hope and a dream. Let's see what the future holds. Ana, thank you.